Before I go ahead and get this video started, I want to go ahead and give a brief disclaimer. Um, Please keep the comments civil and do not harass anybody for any particular reason whatsoever. This video is not meant to be a lashing out or an angry rant or anything like that, so the comments should not reflect that, please. With that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another video. So I'm making this video to talk about something that happened to me on Saturday night, Sunday morning on stream. My channel received its first strike for hate speech. Now, for anybody who watches my content regularly, and for anybody who knows me personally, this may come as a shock because I'm not that kind of person. I don't propagate nor do I condone hate speech of any kind. I generally try to get along with everybody. So imagine my confusion when this happens. Why did this happen? Well, let me go ahead and get into the background of how this happened. So on the Thursday before, I received a notification from YouTube Studio saying that one of my Crab Game VODs from almost a year ago, titled Crab Game Solves All My Problems, was removed from YouTube due to violation of the community guidelines for hate speech. I was incredibly confused as to why this was, and immediately took a look at it, and then remembered it was Crab Game. For anybody who knows what Crab Game is, you'll know, but for those of you who do not, Crab Game was an independent video game developed by one man, based on the hit TV show on Netflix called Squid Game. It was a public game made with public lobbies, or private if you wanted to, but the public lobbies resulted around different rounds of different mini games where each player was eliminated one by one until there's only one standing. Now, this game had proximity voice chat, which means your microphone could be heard by everybody else in the public lobby within proximity. This being the case, multiple people would use this to be edgy and funny, particularly younger folks who just discovered that racial slurs are a thing, and so they would run around screaming these slurs. Upon remembering what kind of game Crab Game was, I was like, well, that could very well be the reason. So I really didn't know what to do with that about it, so I took a look at the review process, and just like typical YouTube, they sent me a 40-minute segment from that VOD to review. They didn't tell me where or how it violated the hate speech community guidelines, and they gave me no inclination of where it could possibly be. They gave me a raw 40-minute segment to review myself. I was like, well, I don't want to review this for 40 minutes to appeal it and then have it immediately rejected. Because I know YouTube, and I don't have the time to be wasting 40 minutes going through a VOD where I will find something that I potentially could find being against that community guideline. So I went ahead and was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it. I'm a little nervous because I know I have 10 plus more Crab Game VODs on my channel, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave it and see what happens. You know, what's the worst that could happen? Well, come Sunday, early morning, I was streaming Elden Ring with Gemini, and then all of a sudden, I disconnected from chat, and I was like, what's going on? Gemini asks me, hey, did you just stop streaming? I was like, no. He goes, well, your stream just ended. And I'm like, it's still going in the top left corner. What is it? What do you mean? Well, come to find out, I got another notification from YouTube Studio. This one said that my Crab Game VOD, Crab Game is no match for me, was also removed due to the violation of the hate speech community guideline. This resulted in a strike against my channel, which bars me from uploading, making community posts, and streaming to the website for a week. For anybody who doesn't know, strikes are just like they are in a baseball game, increasing in consequences until after the third one, your channel is deleted from YouTube and no longer available. I was upset by this because, well, for one, I had no prior, well, besides the warning that they had given after taking down the first VOD, they didn't give me any other warning to that this would happen. So I went immediately to look at the review process. They had sent me an hour and 25-minute long segment of this VOD to review. This now made it over 2 hours of footage that I had to manually comb over to find something that could potentially be against the community guidelines. Not even most YouTubers have that kind of time on their hands, and I'm now recently a parent of 2. Not to mention I work full-time, so I don't have time to sit for 2 hours when I could be, you know, hanging out with my friends, my wife, and whatnot. I have a life. So I went ahead and decided, you know what, I'm just going to take a closer look at the community guidelines for hate speech, because I probably should have done that in the first place, but I was too lazy. But I went ahead and took a closer look, and let me go ahead and show you what it is that they have as their community guidelines. So right here, the very, very top, you got like hate speech policy right here. And it says, hate speech is not allowed on YouTube. We remove content promoting violence or hatred against individuals or groups based on any of the following attributes. Age, caste, disability, ethnicity, gender identity and expression, nationality, race, immigration status, religion, sex/gender, sexual orientation, victims of a major violent event and their kin, and veteran status. If you find content that violates this policy, report it. Instructions for reporting violations of our community guidelines are available here. If you found a few videos or comments that you would like to report, you can report the channel. It goes on to continue saying, don't post content on YouTube if the purpose of that content is to do one or more of the following. Encourage violence against individuals or groups based on any of the attributes noted above. We don't allow threats on YouTube. We treat implied calls for violence as real threats. You can learn more about our policies on threats and harassment. Incite hatred against individuals or groups based on any of the attributes noted above. This right here is their hate speech policy. What that tells me is that any content that promotes or incites violence or hatred is not allowed. I did none of these things, if you can believe it. Go ahead and comb through all of my VODs if you want. You will not find one case where I have promoted or incited violence. In fact, I can remember on a couple of occasions while playing, if I heard something like this from somebody, I actively avoided them. I left the lobby, or I tried to figure out who it was that was doing it and then muted them so I no longer could hear it. That sounds like the opposite of what this right here is saying. So, according to their community guidelines on hate speech, I am not in violation. Which brings me to the point of this video. This warning and strike against my channel, I believe, is unjustifiable. Because according to their hate speech guidelines, I did neither promote nor incite hatred or violence against any protected group of people. I actively avoided it. And like I said, I do not propagate it or condone it. That being said, I understand having something like that on YouTube is an issue, and I probably should have manually reviewed those streams afterwards, but like I said, work a full-time job, I have a wife, a life. This really would have taken a lot of time, and I think that's probably something I'm going to have to do from now on just to make sure everything's kosher. This was a live stream. I had no control over what other people said. It's a public lobby. So saying that I promoted it just for having it there is a very long stretch. So what I think needs to happen is either they get more specific, as in like any hate speech heard whatsoever is not allowed on YouTube, or what I think also should happen is people should be involved. Actual workers from Google should be involved in excuse me, and communicating to the creator that something problematic is in their content. I guarantee this was not manually reviewed, because upon immediately looking at this, I appealed both of the cases. I said, anything in this VOD that can be viewed as hate speech was not conducted by me. I do not propagate nor condone hate speech in any forms, whether it be slurs or discrimination. Anything of that sort was not of my own doing, and I actively avoided the people who did. So I appealed both of them with the same phrasing, and within 2 hours, both appeals were rejected. Now, if they were manually reviewed by a person, it was a very shoddy job, because that was 2 hours worth of footage that needed to be combed through. And of course, if it was an AI, what reason would they have to let the appeals go through? So, an actual person needs to be in this process, because they never gave me a prior warning. They just notified me, hey, we removed your content because it's problematic. And you can appeal it, but now that it's appealed and rejected, all my lines of communication with YouTube are done. That content is lost to the Wayback Machine for now. So there is nothing I can do about it at all. What I really would have liked to have happened, even though I'm a really small channel, is to have somebody talk to me and explain to me, hey, your content's been flagged for this reason. We need to make sure that you understand this, and could you do something to fix it? To which I would have replied, yes, by all means. Let me know the general area or what was said. That way I can go in using the YouTube Studio Editor, just mute that section right there, censor out a couple of areas, and bada bing, bada boom, Bob's your uncle, the content's back on YouTube, and it is no longer problematic. Because this policy, well, not the policy itself, but this process is very, very unfriendly towards the creators, because you have no prior warning, it's just gone. And now I have a strike against my channel, and if I had left all the other Crab Game VODs unprivated, they could very well have docked every single one if they found something problematic. That would have been 3 strikes, my channel is gone. This isn't the first time this kind of situation has happened. It's happened to a lot of big creators, like Moist Critical, Markiplier, Corey Kenshin, and Infa recently had an issue with appeals being rejected. Appeals should not be handled by an AI or algorithm, in my opinion. But the thing that separates them from me is they have YouTube partner managers. So they have, to a degree, a line of communication with YouTube, though you and I and everybody else knows that doesn't go very far. Me, I've got nothing. I used my 2 appeals. That was all the communication I had with YouTube. It's completely gone now. The only other option that I have now is to make this video and put out the message about what's going on with me, and just kind of hope that people listen to it and spread it around and whatnot. That's really all that I have to talk about with this video. So anybody who watches my content, that's what's been going on with me recently. I don't like to ask anything of anybody, but if you feel so inclined, please leave a like on this video, share it with your friends, spread it around, let them know what's going on, because it's to no surprise to anyone, it's small people too that are affected by this sort of thing, YouTube's incompetence to enforce their policies. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I stream as often as I possibly can, and upload videos whenever the urge arises, so just ring the notification bell to get notified when I go live. When I upload a new video, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to hang out with me and my buddies, link to my Discord server in the description below. Would love to see you there. And with that, I will see you guys later. Bye.